Now that we've done an overview of character outcome 2, what we're going to do now is we're going to look at each of the individual learning experiences associated with this character outcome. And there happen to be 4. So let me share my screen with you. And I'm going to share with you just from the workflow, just to give you an idea of what will be expected of you. In this first one, it's called Graphic Organizer of the Bible. And this is really the macro view. We want you to be able to go all the way from Genesis through the book of Revelation and be able to tell the biblical story of what God is doing in our world. And that's a very important thing because it establishes the larger context for all of Bible study. And so if you look on the actual work you'll need to do is you'll create a graphic organizer, and I'll give you an example of what that looks like in a minute. And then what we want you to do is you're going to actually read the entire biblical narrative. And so we will have already had you start this process when you first begin the program. But we want you to read from Genesis through Revelation, and we want you to be actually fluent and conversant in that story, in the narrative part of it. And then from that, you'll make a one-page, you'll limit it to a single page, a graphic picture of what the entire story of the Bible looks like. And you'll do that so you can retell the biblical narrative, but you'll want to be able to connect that with your context. So you'll make it specific for those that you work with. And then you're going to want to share that with at least one person. So let me give you an idea of what a graphic organizer looks like. There are an infinite number based on who you are as a person and what kind of things are important to you. And so what I will do right here is share my graphic organizer that I made. And my graphic organizer is unique to me and how I think, and yours will be unique to you and how you think. But you can see in this graphic organizer, it tells the entire story of the Bible. It begins at creation, then you have the fall, then you have the nation of Israel and all the books that go in the Old Testament. Then you have the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, as the capstone that holds these two stories together. The Old Testament's looking forward, the New Testament's looking back at Jesus. And then you have this transition time, and you have that in the book of Acts, where God's going to take the Jew and the Gentile, and he's going to make them one and create this thing called the church. And then you have the church, and so you have all Paul's letters to help the church become exactly what the church needs to be. And then you have all non-Pauline ones in which you're going to have these general letters which are helping individual believers grow. And so that is my graphic organizer. I can tell you the whole biblical story very quickly or longer. Other people have some have created games, some have used object lessons for kids, some have used other kinds of flow documents, but whatever is going to help you to tell the biblical narrative to your constituents or to those in your context, that's what we want you to do. But also in that, we want you, if let's say you're working with children and you can't make it super complicated, you still need to know the complicated version of the biblical story. And so that's what this one's all about. It's a dynamite character or learning experience, and one that I think you will greatly benefit from over the years. Thanks.